Several of the companies that Amazon had acquired went under, and Amazon's stock price dropped from $107 to a brutal $7. Amazon went into crisis mode and shifted their focus to cutting costs. 1,300 employees were laid off, and a distribution facility was shut down. After some tough times, Amazon began to recover, and in 2003, they grew their product lineup to include a software development center, Amazon Prime, and a Paris Hilton jewelry line. Over the next 7 years, Amazon would acquire a clothing site, a grocery store, and would purchase the company Audible for $300 million, launch a Kindle digital e-reader, and also launch Amazon Web Services. This provides many companies with a whole range of on-demand computing. From the 2010s, Amazon would go from strength to strength, solidifying their name as one of the tech giants. Today, Amazon currently employs over 240,000 employees. This is over 4 times the number Google has. That being said, this does include both part-time and full-time workers. During seasonal spikes, up to 80,000 additional seasonal workers are added to deal with the influx in sales. As of January 2016, 183 million unique visitors were recorded hitting Amazon's website per month. This is the 7th largest site in terms of traffic volume. The company has fulfillment centers or warehouses as large as 1 million square feet. It has more than 80 of these worldwide. To get a sense of scale, these warehouses could hold more water than 10,000 Olympic swimming pools. One former employee is quoted as saying he walked 11 miles per shift, or 17.7 kilometers. In 2015, Amazon made $107 billion in revenue. For comparison, Apple made $233 billion, Microsoft $85 billion, and Alphabet $74 billion. But when you look at actual net income, the story changes quite a bit. In 2015, Amazon took in about $600 million, which is very little compared to Apple's $53 billion and Alphabet's $16 billion. As of the 4th quarter of 2015, the retailer had more than 304 million active customer accounts worldwide. Amazingly, there's still a lot of room to grow for Amazon. Currently, global online retail constitutes 7.2% of total retail. This is predicted to grow to 8.8% in 2018. So with that out of the way, let's go a little bit deeper. How exactly do Amazon get their products to their customers? Here's a short excerpt from 60 Minutes explaining.
Amazon Vice President Dave Clark showed us how the process begins. After the products arrive into the building, they are immediately scanned. The products are then placed by stackers in what seems to outsiders as a haphazard way. A book on Buddhism and Zen resting next to Mrs. Potato Head.
Doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make sense to you? It does. What? Because those two things, you look at how these items fit in the bin. Yeah. Oh. They're optimized for utilizing the available space.
Oh, I see.
And we have computers and algorithmic work that tells people the areas of the building that have the most space to put product in that's coming in at that time.
Amazon has become so efficient with its stacking, it can now store twice as many goods in its centers as it did 5 years ago. Once your order is placed, a so-called pick ambassador walks the aisles, plucking and scanning your items before placing them in bins. Those bins eventually wind up in front of a packer who knows exactly how big of a box to use based on the weight and amount of items. Your address is slapped onto the box, and then a picture is taken of your address label. Gadgets known as shoes sort and divert the boxes to the appropriate spiral chute based on the postal code. The boxes are then loaded onto awaiting trucks, which are assigned to particular regions, Raleigh, North Carolina in this case.
Okay, so almost at the end of this video, but what are some cool things about Amazon? Some fun facts. Number 8. Amazon is planning to use planes to make deliveries faster and more efficient.
Amazon is taking to the skies. No, we're not talking about drones just yet. The e-commerce giant on Friday unveiled its first branded cargo plane, a Boeing 767-300 named Amazon One. It's one of 40 planes the company plans to lease in order to speed up and control more of its own shipping networks. So how does this play into Amazon's larger business model? Why is this important for Amazon to take more and more control of its own delivery process?
Oh, well, Amazon spends an inordinate amount of money getting you tissue boxes, toilet paper, Amazon devices, all sorts of stuff like that, right to your door in fast faster and faster time. So the more it can actually control in that delivery network, hopefully the lower the cost will actually be for the company.
So what this does give us the opportunity to do is we'll be able to run flights 7 days a week. We'll be able to run very custom point-to-point routes today that are optimized for our network versus the holistic transportation network that maybe some of our providers would operate.
Number 7, Amazon Prime Air. Prime Air is a future delivery system designed to get packages safely to consumers within 30 minutes or less using drones. These vehicles will use obstacle avoidance technology to operate within a safe range of 10 miles or more. Prime Air development centers are based in the US, UK, Austria, and Israel. Number 6. With a sales record of 600 million sales per second, the delivery from Amazon's warehouses needs to be streamlined. To help streamline the process, Amazon purchased Kiva, a company that makes factory automation robots, at $775 million in 2012. As of last year, there were up to 30,000 bots. Not only does Amazon plan increasing the number, it also plans on automating the process of picking items from shelves. To achieve this, Amazon set up the Amazon Picking Challenge, a competition where robotics researchers competed for a $25,000 prize to design the best picking robot. Number 5. Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services sells computer infrastructure like storage, databases, and computing power. Startups and more established companies rent these in place of high-powered servers. Amazon has some big-name clients. These include Pinterest, General Electric, Tinder, Reddit, Adobe Systems, Netflix, Instagram, some major banks, and even the CIA.
Other than Netflix, who else uses AWS?
Big enterprises, big government institutions.
Like the CIA.
The CIA, does that present any conflict for you, the fact that you provide a cloud that the CIA uses for its data?
I don't think so. We're building what's called a private cloud for them, Charlie, because they don't want to be on the public cloud.
To give you an idea of how much data some of these clients use, Dropbox at one point was using a petabyte per day on Amazon Web Servers. The web server business has generated $2.6 billion for Amazon within the first quarter of 2016. Very lucrative. The flexible, inexpensive, and easily accessible web service allows thousands of new startups to flourish and played a large role in the transformation and innovation of industries such as finance, health, science, and oil. Number 4. Amazon's current logo has a hidden meaning behind it. The arrow, which looks like a smile, is a representation of the wide range of available items for retail, from A to Z. Number 3. Amazon employees spend 2 days every 2 years working at the customer service desk, even the CEO. This ensures that every single employee understands the customer service process. Unfortunately, by at least one internal account, Amazon's relentless pursuit of customer satisfaction often happens at the expense of some employees, making it a difficult and unpleasant company to work for. Number 2. Amazon is planning to build brick-and-mortar stores.
Store is a very rich bunch of books because all of them are proven bestsellers. So you know going in that anything that you're looking at is going to be popular. It's going to be a good read.
Here's a couple more little facts. In 2014, Amazon launched Amazon Echo, a voice-activated assistant with its own hardware. In the same year, they also acquired Twitch, a massive online streaming platform. Number 1. Till this day, Jeff Bezos is still the largest shareholder and currently holds 18% of shares. He is now the 5th richest person on Earth, valued at almost $70 billion. With some of that money, he bought himself the Washington Post. Now, to have one individual own a media outlet isn't really something that I agree with, but it is what it is. But anyway, back to the big picture. All of what you've just seen and heard all began from just selling books online. It sometimes really is crazy how things can turn out.
If you go back in time 18 years, I was driving the packages to the post office myself, and we were very primitive. When I was driving the packages myself, one of my visualizations of success is that we might one day be big enough that we could afford a forklift.
Sometimes being the first to do something and doing it better than your competitors can be an incredibly successful combination. So anyway, I hope you learned something from that. That's the story, size, and some cool facts about Amazon.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. it, subscribe to this channel if you just stumbled across it. And if you want to see more videos about the size of companies and how big they are, how they got started, and some cool, interesting facts about them, feel free to have a browse around this channel. There's plenty of videos like that. Alright, so I'll catch you again soon for the next video. Thanks again for watching. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Cold fusion. It's me thinking.
A small footnote to the viewer. This video will not be a tinfoil hat video. I'm not going to be talking about how Google's becoming too big and is going to be the next Skynet. I'm going to give you facts. There will be some small personal opinions within the summary at the end of the video, but that's it. Now, please enjoy the production. 1995. I was 5 years old, and the public internet was only 3 years old. People didn't really know what the internet was or how to use it, or even if it was of any use to them. On one particular day in 1995, history would change forever. A 22-year-old Larry Page and a 21-year-old Sergey Brin meet for the first time at Stanford University. Larry and Sergey soon become good friends and begin collaborating on a search engine called Backrub. In 1995, there were about 13 search engines to choose from, and they were all terrible. They didn't give back anything remotely close to what you asked for. But Backrub was different. It had a secret formula. It was called PageRank. And you're looking at it now. This one formula is one of the reasons that Backrub performed so much better than the other search engines at the time. This was the key, the secret. This formula will indirectly be worth billions in the future. On September 15th, 1997, Backrub was changed to Google.com. And the rest, as they say, is history. Surface of Google. We use their online services like Google Search, YouNow, YouTube, and Google Plus every day. Many of us have a phone featuring Google software, and maybe even
I do. It's called a Wiley Fox.
Self-driving cars and augmented reality glasses are cool, but very few people ask themselves the question: how big is Google, and what else?
Google is huge AF. Prompt not very. Okay, let's go.
17th of August 2005. Cost $15 million. We all know what Android is, and no doubt the best part of Android is its open source nature. This allows the operating system to be on anything from phones to cars to fridges. Android is everywhere. Out of the 261.1 million smartphones sold in 2013, 211 million of them were running Android. That's over 80%.
Oh, my bad. Oh my god. I'm good. I'm writing a book about my life.
Number 4. YouTube. Acquisition date, 10th of December 2006. At a cost of $1.65 billion. I will do no justice to convey just how mind-blowingly huge YouTube is. The facts will do this for me. Looking at YouTube purely just as a search engine, it's bigger than Bing, Yahoo, and Ask, all combined. In fact, it's the largest search engine on the planet, second to only Google Search itself. So it's obvious that there's a lot of content on YouTube. But how much continuous video content actually gets uploaded per day? Maybe a week? 1 month of continuous video? 2 months? A year? Nope. Try a decade. That's right. Over a decade's worth of video is uploaded at a rate of 72 hours per minute. And that's just in 1 day. It's nothing. If you start adding it up, it gets even stupider. For 1 month, just 1 month, there is 4 billion hours worth of video watched course, as you watch this particular video on YouTube, those rates are increasing. I could go on with the facts, but there's a lot more crazy stuff to cover in this video.
Number 3.
Motorola Mobility. Acquisition date, 15th of August 2011. At a cost of $12.5 billion. Motorola Mobility was in trouble in the early 2010s, and Google used this opportunity to get themselves into the hardware side of the smartphone world. But halfway through the production of this video, something very interesting happened. Google sold Motorola Mobility to Lenovo for $2.9 billion. This makes it seem as if Google's interests were elsewhere. Perhaps they just wanted to hang on to some of the patents that they acquired from the acquisition of Motorola to help Android defend itself against Apple. Perhaps in court cases in the future, or perhaps the ones past.
Number 2.
Boston Dynamics. Acquisition date, 10th of December 2013. Cost, unknown. Okay, so this is where things start to get a little bit crazy. Remember those robots I was showing you a while back in that top 10 video? Google bought Boston Dynamics, the company that created the robotic technology. If you want to know more about these amazing robots, just check out the first YouTube video link in the description below. This acquisition means that Google now owns some of the most advanced robotic technology on the planet. It doesn't end there though.
Number 1.
Nest. Acquisition date, 13th of January 2014, at a cost of $3.2 billion. Nest Labs previously created some very beautiful smart thermostats and smoke detectors as part of their goals to create a conscious home. Google is going to help them do that in a very big way. We may eventually see a home powered by Android and Google Now. These kind of acquisitions will be quite interesting over the next 5 years or so. And here's a bonus item. DeepMind. Acquisition date, 26th of January 2014. This was Google's first AI company acquisition. DeepMind can be described as a world-class, groundbreaking technology on the cutting edge of machine learning. They use systems neuroscience to build powerful and general-purpose learning algorithms.
But let's get to the Google robot, because it seems like they have all the parts in place, so let's dissect a bit. Let's start with what would be the brain of the robot, and that is DeepMind. We don't actually know that much about this company, but we know them as created by a child prodigy who liked chess and has gone on to create games. And we know that they have some patents in looking at images, their technology, and deciphering what's inside images without humans saying what's actually in those images. And then critical thinking. Exactly, critical thinking.
As I said earlier, this video is not a tinfoil hat video, so the aim is not to scare people. So I'm going to tell you facts. According to official statements, the DeepMind technology is going to be used for Google image search, for now anyway. So that's a bit about what Google's been doing. What about some of the more crazy out there stuff? Well, there's definitely some lesser known things going on at Google. Of course, I'm mainly talking about Google X. Google X is a semi-secret facility run by Sergey Brin and Astro Teller. Google X aims to, quote-unquote, improve technologies by a factor of 10, according to Astro Teller. He goes on to say, think of science fiction sounding solutions. In late 2013, Google went on a robotics company acquisition spree. Every day, they purchased a new company that operated in fields such as humanoid robots, robotic arms, and computer vision. I guess we just have to wait for the announcement to see what they're really up to. Another very interesting project is Project Loon. Project Loon aims to provide internet service for the 4 billion people that don't yet have access. It aims to do this via balloons in the stratosphere. The balloons will float in the stratosphere about 20 miles or 32 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The balloons will create an aerial wireless network with 3G speeds. It's hoped that Project Loon will bring a low-cost way to get the rest of the world online. So as you're seeing, some amazing advances in technology are happening right now. It's an exciting time for me. Anyway, we'll take a short break, and we'll be straight back after this.
Every day, America Online is making it easier for people to live, work, and play.
And downloading is easy too. You know, I can even send email on the internet.
And welcome back. Let's get straight back into it. Recently, Google was part of a world-first event. Let's check out the news bulletin from CNN to see what it was.
Google and NASA have teamed up to share one of the world's first commercial quantum computers. This machine, made by Canada's DeepWave, will be installed in a NASA research center in Hamilton.
Yep, so as it turns out, Google is also in the quantum computing game. Now, we really don't have enough time to go into all the details of what it does and how it does it, but the bottom line is Google is involved in one of the world's first commercially available quantum computers. Now, performance-wise, it's not that great for a quantum computer. It's just a tiny bit faster than a regular computer at the moment. But of course, it's the very first version of a brand new sort of computing, so it's going to take some time to get there. But it's pretty cool. That chip you're staring at is an actual quantum computer. It's hoped that this computer could be used in the future to solve very complex optimization problems, one of which is global warming. But of course, one step at a time. The mysterious barges. In October 2013, 4 strange floating barges were found off the coast of Treasure Island, San Francisco, Rikers Wharf, Portland, and New London in Connecticut. Google refused to give any detailed statements about the use of the 4 250 feet long, 2,000 plus ton barges. The only explanation given for their existence was to, in quotes, to use the barge as an interactive space where people can learn about new technology. Some say it's just a storehouse or marketing area for Google Glass, but no one knows for sure. And now we'll end off the video with the most recent announcement. January 16th, 2014, Google announced their specialized contact lenses. These contact lenses will provide a glucose monitoring system for diabetics using a non-intrusive method. So, over the next decade, we may see home automation from a conscious house, advanced intelligent robotics, and the global expansion of internet coverage. But in 10 years, just how much will Google own? Their services may already account for almost 40% of all internet traffic. In one way, it's a bit unsettling to see a company have such a large and growing embrace over every aspect of the technological universe. But on the other hand, it only can be, and it has to be Google that advances the state of our world. There's no other company out there that has the resources and infrastructure to do the research and develop such amazing technologies and produce products at a reasonable price for the world. The only thing I ask of you, Google, is to just stay sincere. So you've just seen all the latest information about one of the largest, most dynamic, and influential companies we're ever likely to see for a long time. So what do we take away from all of this? Well, you can look at it this way. The founders of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, were just 2 regular guys. 2 regular college dropouts, to be exact. They saw a need for more accurate search, and they put their minds to it, and you've just seen the result. So the next time you feel like giving up on an idea, just think about that. 2 very intelligent, but otherwise regular guys changed the world. So what do you have to lose? Alright, so I'm not a life coach, but still food for thought. So that was Google, and this is me. Hey, Dagogo here, the creator of this channel and also that video, of course. So if you guys are new here, I've got some music videos and some documentaries and all sorts of other stuff, because I just do a little bit of everything, really. So if you know someone that likes Google or technology in general, and you want to share this video, you can do that as well, because editing and putting together and planning one of these videos takes quite a lot of time. I'm not sure if you could notice that or not. So just any little thing helps. People have been saying I should get my stuff out there, so this is my effort to try and do that. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. Alright, so I'll see you again for the next one, and enjoy your day. Cheers. But it's all in good fun, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you again soon for the next video. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You are watching Cool Fusion TV.
From a garage to one of the largest companies in world history, the question must be, how did this start, and just how big are Apple today? In this video, we'll take a look at the fascinating story of where Apple came from, and then some facts. We will then move on to the company's size, and finally finish up with some conclusions. My name is Dagogo, and thanks for joining me. Please get comfortable. This story is a pretty good one. Let's begin. The beginning of Apple was a true all-American story. You know how they say great things happen when you're in the right place at the right time? This is true for the foundation of Apple. The year is 1969, and the timing was perfect for some real innovation. It was a moment when the largest generation in US history, the baby boomers, were becoming adults, 80 million strong. It was an explosive shock to the system. They were dissatisfied with their country. They didn't want their friends and classmates going to war.
I don't want to go to Vietnam.
stand for any sort of discrimination. There were new ideas about what the world could be. It was a young revolution separate from mainstream America, a counterculture. In tandem with this, the microchip was in development and would be another revolution just on the other side of the decade. The place was also ripe for innovation, as San Francisco was the epicenter of the counterculture movement. It would be during this mix of time and place in 1969 that a 14-year-old Steve Jobs would meet a 19-year-old Steve Wozniak. They were your run-of-the-mill students with a love for technology, pranks, and the Beatles. Neither of them had any idea that the two of them would soon change history. Steve Wozniak was always keen on computers.
And I took this book home that described the PDP-8 computer, and it was just like a Bible to me. I mean, all these things that for some reason I'd fallen in love with, like you might fall in love with playing a musical instrument. I fell in love with these little descriptions of computers on the inside, so I could work out some problems on paper and solve it and see how it's done, and I could come up with my own solutions that feel good inside.
Wozniak shared a common dream among tech enthusiasts, the dream to own a personal computer, an impossible concept at the time. This all changed in 1974 with the introduction of the Altair 8800, a DIY microcomputer kit. Even though it didn't have any output apart from a set of flashing lights, it caused mass excitement and hysteria among tech enthusiasts. So much so that computer clubs began to pop up all around the US just to discuss all the cool things that you could do with an Altair 8800. One of such clubs was the Homebrew Computer Club in San Francisco. This club was different though. According to Jim Moran, founder of the West Coast Computer Fair, the general belief system of the Homebrew Computer Club was influenced by the counterculture happening around the area. For the club, this meant that helping each other and sharing everything was the norm. It was a team effort to figure out what the new Altair computer kit could do once it was put together. Meanwhile, Steve Wozniak was building his own computer. At this time, early CPUs from Intel and Motorola had just become publicly available, and Woz took advantage. Each week, Wozniak would bring his computer into the Homebrew Club with new improvements each time. He was too shy to put up his hand during the club session, so he would just set up his computer at the session's conclusion. But something would happen every time. People would start to crowd around and ask him questions. Steve Jobs, who also attended the club, noticed this and told Woz, the two of us should really sell these things.
Hello.
So, starting in this garage in April of 1976, the two boys, with the help of some friends, got to work on the Apple I, a single circuit board, no included keyboard or monitor. This was officially the beginning of Apple Computer. The group of friends sold 50 Apple I's. To Steve, this was proof that people outside the club actually did want to own a PC.
It was very clear to me that while there were a bunch of hardware hobbyists that could assemble their own computers or at least take our board and add the transformers for the power supply and the case and the keyboard, for every one of those, there were 1,000 people that couldn't do that but wanted to mess around with programming. And so my dream for the Apple II was to sell the first real packaged computer.
Steve's vision of a ready-made PC was actually impossible at the time. It would take way too many chips, making it too expensive and too complicated. It just couldn't be done without some serious innovation. As it turns out, Woz didn't actually know it was impossible. He single-handedly used his mind to make an industry breakthrough.
And then I got into a way of, why have memory for your TV screen and memory for your computer, make them one? And that shrunk the chips down, and I shrunk the chips here, and looked through manuals and found a chip that did it in one chip instead of 5, and reduced that, and one thing after another happened. I wound up with so few chips. When I was done, I said, hey, a computer, you could program to generate colored patterns on a screen, or data, or words, or play games, or anything. And it was just the computer I wanted.
Steve Jobs added his design knowledge while insisting that the computer should be easy to use. This combination made the Apple II palatable to the consumer. Steve Jobs managed to get some investment money together for manufacturing. The PC was now a far cry from the hobbyist box with a bunch of lights and switches just 2 years earlier. The new company showcased the Apple II at the 1978 Computer Fair, and they stole the show outright. No one had ever seen anything like it. After this, Apple was off, literally exponentially.
I was worth about over $1 million when I was 23, and over $10 million when I was 24, and over $100 million when I was 25. And it wasn't that important because I never did it for the money.
The future would not be all smooth sailing though. By 1980, IBM saw Apple's success in the PC market and realized that they were wrong about the PC. It wasn't just a hobbyist toy. It could actually be used to extend human intellect and even for communication. Throughout the 80s, Apple would battle with IBM and the other PC manufacturers, losing market share as they went along. For Apple, the next few decades would see failure, success, and everything in between. After losing its way and flirting with bankruptcy, the company would shed the excess and return to its roots, ushering in a second golden age. The modern era of Apple is a force to be reckoned with on the world stage. They have a strong devoted following and managed to take home 92% of all smartphone profits in the first quarter of 2015. With all of this in mind, let's look at 7 fun facts about the company before we take a look at how big they really are.
Number 7.
Where did the name come from? According to Steve Wozniak's 2006 book, I Was, Wozniak explains that the name came when he was driving Steve Jobs back from the airport. Jobs had just returned from a commune called the Apple Orchard. In the car, Jobs suggested the name Apple Computer. Wozniak was concerned about the name because they could have issues with the Beatles' Apple records. As it turns out, the pair just couldn't think of anything better, and Apple Computer stuck.
Number 6.
Apple actually had 3 co-founders. So we all know Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, but there was a third person that many people wouldn't have heard of. Ronald Wayne. He was the one who designed this original Apple logo, which featured Sir Isaac Newton. It was of course soon scrapped because it was too detailed. Wayne left the company just 12 days after it was founded, selling 10% of his share for just $800. If he'd stayed with his 10% share, it would be worth over $60 billion today. Wayne, who is now 80 years old, says he has no regrets. That really sucks, but I guess it happens.
Number 5.
Shortly after being shooed out of Apple in 1985, Jobs applied to fly on the space shuttle as a civilian astronaut and even considered starting a computer company in the Soviet Union.
Number 4.
It's fairly common knowledge that Jobs had the rare insight to see that technology had a strong emotional tie. But what most people don't know is that he actually dedicated an entire team devoted to packaging and studying the experience of opening a box.
Number 3.
According to a 2015 interview with Steve Wozniak, when they met, Steve Jobs had never designed anything as a hardware engineer and had never written any software. Jobs would obviously grow his skill set as the company matured.
Number 2.
The iPhone project was so secret that the hardware guys never saw the software, and the software guys never got to see the hardware. Hardly anyone inside Apple knew what the finished product would look like until Steve Jobs revealed it on the stage.
Number 1.
Steve Jobs actually served as a mentor for the Google founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page. Okay, so we've learned quite a bit so far, and we have some great context under our belt. But let's dive into the real stuff. Just how big is Apple? Apple's first quarter revenue in 2015, just from the iPhone, was $51.2 billion. That's greater than Yahoo's entire market cap at $45.5 billion. And that's 3 times more than Google's total revenue in the third quarter of 2014, or almost twice as much as Microsoft's quarterly revenue. Apple has more than $178 billion in cash. That's more than enough to buy IBM. In fact, Apple could buy Ford, General Motors, and Tesla and still have $41.3 billion left over. Alternatively, Netflix, Tesla, Twitter, Dropbox, Pandora, and Spotify combined. The company has twice as much operating cash as the US Treasury. Apple's net income last quarter was $18 billion, the largest quarterly earnings for any company ever. The previous record was held by Gazprom, Russia's huge oil and gas company. they clocked in at $16.2 billion of profit in August of 2011. Apple is actually an anomaly. Every other company in the top 25 most profitable quarters of all time have been an empty company. So a few of you would be asking, how does Apple compare to Samsung Group? In terms of revenue, Samsung has generated almost 2 times as much as Apple and has 4 times the number of employees. But if we look at company net income, the story kind of switches. Samsung actually pockets less than half of what Apple does. This means that although Samsung has its hand in everything, Apple is a much more efficient business, only sticking to a handful of products and nailing their target market in the process. So let's take a look at the even bigger picture with all the huge companies in the world. First, let's look at revenue. In terms of revenue, Walmart is number 1, Samsung is number 10, and Apple is number 17. But again, if we look at net income and profits, Apple Incorporated is number 1. ExxonMobil trails Apple by almost $20 billion. Keep in mind that this was before the commodity price slide of 2015. This is simply amazing. So now let's begin to start wrapping up the video by discussing some interesting questions. What makes Apple so successful? A lot of Apple's success can be attributed to taking a different, more human approach to technology. Technology's job is not just to be a tool in life, but to get out of the way and be transparent, almost natural. Apple has historically done this extremely well. Answering the question from another angle, the modern era of Apple has actually had a lot to do with problem solving. What do I mean? Well, since the late 90s and early 2000s, we entered the true digital age. Core technologies such as RAM and CPUs had fallen prices, but storage size and speed capabilities were skyrocketing. This meant that there was a huge explosion of new possible product capabilities. But there was a problem. How do you harness these capabilities to make great products that people want? The answer? Make them easy to use. Case 1, the iPod in 2001. Hard drive storage had come down to a reasonable size and capacity was increasing.
But interestingly enough, in this whole new digital music revolution, there is no market leader. They haven't found the recipe. No one has really found the recipe for digital music.
But Apple had a problem. If they were to make a digital player, there would be just too many songs to get through. Who would want to click through 1,000 songs one by one? How would we make this as user-friendly as possible? A haptic feedback scroll wheel ended up being the perfect solution. Case 2, the iPhone in 2007. Phones were now entering a new age. They were turning into mini PCs. In fact, if the iPhone was made in 1991 to have the same performance as it did in 2007, it would cost you more than $3 million. The RAM alone would cost $1.4 million. With the start of this new mobile age, the old thinking of a crammed keyboard with a tiny mouse or equivalent navigation had to change. There needed to be a better way. The solution? A capacitive touchscreen, the first ever to be put in a consumer device, a real breakthrough at that point. But that wasn't enough though. When you make all the details count, the product can sell itself. Remember, the simple list scrolling of the iPhone blew people's minds. Not because it was Apple, but because people were amazed to see that technology could act so organically. It sounds simple today, but back then it blew people away.
Well, how do I scroll through my list of artists? How do I do this? I just take my finger and I scroll.
Uniqueness and innovation was key to Apple's early success. It was also Steve Jobs' belief in the emotional aspect of a technology product that set Apple apart, an aspect which many tech companies today still don't fully realize the significance of. So what's the takeaway, the big picture? I just love this story. A couple of kids tinkering in their garage created a company that now has a bigger quarterly profit than all the big oil companies and even Walmart. It happened because they're in the right place at the right time, but also because they were passionate about what they did.
The most important thing, though, I think, is that if you're going to start something new, you have to feel passionate about it, because it's really hard. Most of the difference between people that succeed and people that don't is the people that don't give up. They give up sooner than the people that succeed. And you have to be passionate about it because it's so difficult.
The roots of Apple at the Homebrew Computer Club also show us something. If you surround yourself with other passionate and positive people, it can lead to great things. It's just something cool to think about.
Hey guys, to go here. So there you have it. That was just a nice, factual, straight look at Apple, and I hope you enjoyed that, or at least got something out of it. So, guys, if you're new here, that video was actually part of a series. So if you want to know more about more companies and how big they are and just cool facts, just like you saw in this video, you can go to the How Big Is playlist on my channel. It's got a whole bunch of companies like Samsung, Google, Walmart, Facebook, and all that good stuff. So you can check that out if you want. And yeah, that's about all from me. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you didn't. Leave a comment and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys again soon for the next video. Cheers. Have a good one.
Cold Fusion. It's new thinking.
This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years. Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. And Apple has been, well, first of all, one is very fortunate to get to work on just one of these in your career. Apple's been very fortunate. It's been able to introduce a few of these into the world. In 1984, we introduced the Macintosh. It didn't just change Apple, it changed the whole computer industry. 2001, we introduced the first iPod. And it didn't just change the way we all listen to music. It changed the entire music industry. Well, today we're introducing 3 revolutionary products. The first one is a widescreen iPod with touch controls. The second is a revolutionary mobile phone. And the third is a breakthrough internet communications device. So, 3 things: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device. An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. Here it is. No. Actually, here it is, but we're going to leave it there for now. So, before we get into it, let me talk about a category of things. The most advanced phones are called smartphones. So they
basically combine a phone plus an email capability, plus they say it's the internet, sort of the baby internet, into one device, and they all have these plastic little keyboards on them. And the problem is that they're not so smart, and they're not so easy to use. So if you kind of make a business school 101 graph with a smart axis and an easy to use axis, phones, regular cell phones are kind of right there. They're not so smart, and not so easy to use. But smartphones are definitely a little smarter, but they actually are harder to use. They're really complicated. Just for the basic stuff, people have a hard time figuring out how to use it. Well, we don't want to do either one of these things. What we want to do is make a leapfrog product that is way smarter than any mobile device has ever been and super easy to use. This is what I focus. Okay? So, we're going to reinvent the phone. Now, we're going to start with a revolutionary user interface. It is the result of years of research and development, and of course, it's an interplay of hardware and software. Now, why do we need a revolutionary user interface? I mean, here's four smartphones, right? Motorola Q, BlackBerry, Palm Treo, Nokia E62, the usual suspects. And what's wrong with their user interface? Well, the problem with them is really sort of in the bottom 40 here. It's this stuff right here. They all have these keyboards that are there whether you need them or not to be there. And they all have these control buttons that are fixed in plastic and are the same for every application. Every application wants a slightly different user interface, a slightly optimized set of buttons just for it. And what happens if you think of a great idea 6 months from now? You can't run around and add a button to these things. They're already shipped. So what do? It doesn't work because the buttons and the controls can't change. They can't change for each application, and they can't change down the road if you think of another great idea you want to add to this product. Well, how do you solve this? It turns out we have solved it. We solved it in computers 20 years ago. We solved it with a bitmap screen that could display anything we want, put any user interface up, and a pointing device. We solved it with the mouse, right? We solved this problem. So how are we going to take this to a mobile device? What we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen. Now, how are we going to communicate this? We don't want to carry around a mouse, right? So what are we going to do? Oh, a stylus, right? We're going to use a stylus. No. No. Who wants a stylus? You have to get them and put them away, you lose them, and yuck. Nobody wants a stylus. So let's not use a stylus. We're going to use the best pointing device in the world. We're going to use a pointing device that we're all born with. We're born with 10 of them. We use our fingers. And we touch this with our fingers. And we have invented a new technology called multi-touch, which is phenomenal. It works like magic. You don't need a stylus. It's far more accurate than any touch display that's ever been shipped. It ignores unintended touches. It's super smart. You can do multi-finger gestures on it, and boy, have we patented it. So, we've been very lucky to have brought a few revolutionary user interfaces to the market in our time. First was the mouse. Second was the click wheel. And now we're going to bring multi-touch to the market. And each of these revolutionary user interfaces has made possible a revolutionary product. The Mac, the iPod, and now the iPhone. So, a revolutionary user interface. We're going to build on top of that with software. Now, software on mobile phones is like baby stuff. It's not so powerful. And today, we're going to show you a software breakthrough. Software that's at least 5 years ahead of what's on any other phone. Now, how do we do this? Well, we start with a strong strong foundation. iPhone runs OS 10. Now, why would we want to run such a sophisticated operating system on a mobile device? Well, because it's got everything we need. It's got multitasking. It's got the best networking. It already knows how to power manage. We've been doing this on mobile computers for years. It's got awesome security and the right apps. It's got everything, Coco and the graphics, and it's got core animation built in. And it's got the audio and video that OS X is famous for. It's got all the stuff we want. And it's built right into iPhone. And that has let us create desktop class applications and networking. Not the crippled stuff that you find on those phones. This is real desktop class applications. And you know, one of the pioneers of our industry, Alan Kay, has had a lot of great quotes throughout the years. And I ran across one of them recently that explains how we look at this. Explains why we go about doing things the way we do. Because we love software. Here's the quote. People who are really serious about software should make their own hardware. Now, Alan said this 30 years ago. And this is how we feel about it. So we're bringing breakthrough software to a mobile device for the first time. It's 5 years ahead of anything. The second thing we're doing is we're learning from the iPod. Syncing with iTunes. You know, we're going to ship our 100 millionth iPod this year. And that's with tens of millions of people that know how to sync these devices with their PCs or Mac and sync all of their media right onto their iPod. Right? So you just drop your iPod in, it automatically syncs. You do the same thing with iPhone. It automatically syncs from your PC or Mac right to iTunes. And iTunes is going to sync all your media on your iPhone. Music, audiobooks, podcasts, movies, TV shows, music videos. But it also syncs a ton of data. Your contacts, your calendars, and your photos, which you can get on your iPod today, your notes, your bookmarks from your web browser, your email accounts, your whole email setup, all that stuff can be moved over to iPhone completely automatically. It's really nice. And we do it through iTunes. Again, you go to iTunes and you set it up, just like you set up an iPod or an Apple TV. And you set up what you want synced to your iPhone. Just like an iPhone. Charge. So sync with iTunes. Third thing I want to talk about here is design. We've designed something wonderful. What it looks like. It's got a 3.5-inch screen. Really good. And it's the highest resolution screen we've ever shipped. 160 pixels per inch. Highest we've ever shipped. Gorgeous. And on the front, there's only one button down there. We call it the home button. Take it home and do whatever you want. That's it. Think of the size. It's really thin. It's thinner than any smartphone out there. 11.6 millimeters. Clear, blackjack, clear, all of it. Really nice. And we got some controls on the side. We got a switch to the side. We got volume up and down. Look at that. On the back, the biggest thing you notice is the 2-megapixel camera built in. The other side, the back and the front. Still think with the top now. We've got headset jack. 3.5 millimeter. All your iPod headphones fit right in. We've got posts for your tray for your SIM card. And we've got one switch for sleeping and push and pull. Take a look at the bottom. We've got a speaker. We've got a microphone. And we've got our 30-pin iPod connector. That's the bottom. Now, we've also got some stuff you can't see. We've got 3 really advanced sensors within this phone. The first one is a proximity sensor. It senses the physical objects get close. So when you bring iPhone up to your ear, take a phone call, it turns off the display and it turns off the cutscene instantly. Why do you want to do that? Well, 1, to save battery, but 2, so you don't get spurious inputs from your face in the touchscreen. It just automatically turns them off. it didn't just change the way we all listen to music. It changed the entire music system. Well, today, we're introducing 3 revolutionary cars. The first one, a widescreen iPod with touch controls. The second is a revolutionary multiphone. And the third is a breakthrough internet communications device. So, 3 things. A widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communication. An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. Here it is. No. Actually, here it is, but we're going to leave it there for now. So, before we get into it, let me talk about a category of things. The most advanced phones are called smartphones, so they say. And they typically combine a phone plus some email capability, plus they say it's the internet, sort of the baby internet, into one device, and they all have these plastic little keyboards on them. And the problem is that they're not so smart, and they're not so easy to use. So if you kind of make a Business School 101 graph of a smart axis and an easy-to-use axis, phones, regular cell phones are kind of right there. They're not so smart, and they're not so easy to use. But smartphones are definitely a little smarter, but they actually are harder to use. They're really complicated. Just for the basic stuff, people have a hard time figuring out how to use it. But we don't want to do either one of them.
Anyways, I think we're going to get going because obviously you finally saw me cry on camera, but you would understand whenever I release my book why I did. It's in the first chapter and I still remember it to this day. And I literally made it rain. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay unique, you lovely little tigers, and I'll see you in the next broadcast. Hi guys.